Welcome back, Megan Haag.
Yeah, excited to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
And so you recently applied for a Tinman Coin wellness grant,
Yes.
and you were also a recipient of one of the first grant rounds the first grant round we ever did back in September
Yeah, I appreciate that.
before we ever had this process. So now I'm putting you through it, and thanks for agreeing to do this on a podcast because then we can show more people what these onboard meetings look like and what options we provide and what's included in the grants we're giving out.
Absolutely.
On your application, you notice that you're often depressed more than half the time.
Yeah.
How do you find yourself being drawn to practices that help you get through that? Like, or do you find yourself coping?
A little bit of both. Yeah, I find myself like creating these scenarios and like every possible outcome to situations and like I find when I'm able to get out of that and like take the time to meditate and it makes a huge difference, but when you're in that spiral it's hard to know. You have all these practices and tools that but when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to remember what to do.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That you just the thought of the awareness of, oh, I'm in this moment. I should ground myself out of it to
Right.
even have that thought. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean.
And knowing, like, being able to figure out like what is true and what is not based on past experiences or like, yeah, it's interesting.
So lost in the or caught up in the anxiety of predicting the future.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like trying to protect yourself. Like I struggle with abandonment. So like I'm going to leave a situation or scenario before someone else has that opportunity to leave me. If I have any like sign of that, like that's my defense mechanism, and like recognizing that is huge. It's
Yeah.
fun.
So you said you struggle with abandonment. Could you explain why that is?
So I was adopted when I was 15 days old, and my mother, she had drug use in her past and she didn't know that she was pregnant, I guess, until she was 7 months pregnant. It's something I knew my whole entire life. Like, they never kept that from me. I always knew that, and I never had any like anger or resentment towards that. I had lovely parents that loved me. I always had a lot of people around me that loved me, and I always felt loved. So it wasn't until my like early 20s where I kind of like started to explore those feelings of abandonment and like, try to figure out what was real and what, was a protection mechanism to keep me safe. And so it's been a journey.
So it didn't bother you until you started to think about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you feel that it's since then you've thought about it more, it's bothered you more?
Yeah.
Okay. See, you do you exercise regularly? Yes.
Yes, it goes in waves.
Are you happy with your current diet?
No, not at all.
All right. You like hiking, archery, painting, and photography.
Yeah.
You love spending time outdoors. Do you struggle with being present
At times.
times?
Yeah.
Wellness therapy options that you selected: Reiki therapy in nature.
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Just a little bit at the retreat
Oh, sure.
in the
The
fall,
group
but
Reiki.
yeah.
Okay. Women's holistic health coaching,
Yep.
wellness retreat, float therapy. Have you ever tried float therapy?
I did like a month ago and it was so profound. I had a
Yeah.
gift certificate and I went and I kind of have like a fear of drowning, and so I was a little scared at first because they're like, "Oh, you're gonna just put your head on this like pillow thing in the water." And I'm like, "Well, what if I'm in like a deep meditation and I fall asleep?" But it was fine. And I just had this beautiful experience, and I was able to like see each one of my chakras and like see them opening. And then like there was this really cool, I could go on for a long time about my experience, but I I reached up and I could like see two hands, and it was like the creator's hands, but it wasn't until I reached up, like I could see them, but it wasn't until I reached up and like took that action step that I was able to receive that help. And then like we went through, and when we got to my heart chakra, there was like a wall there. And then I saw like a physical heart, that's symmetrical on both sides. And then it was like the heart organ, but it was inside of a walnut shell. And like we had to crack through this walnut shell to get like the love to pour in. So it was like my heart chakra was so blocked, but being able to visually see that while I was doing a float was like, I've never experienced anything like that. It was so cool.
Yeah, that sounds so vivid, like you were watching a movie.
It was, yeah. And it was like my eyes were open at that time, and I could see the stars, but it was like you're finally awake. So you don't have to keep your eyes closed anymore because you can see.
Were you totally deprived of light and sound in the float
Yes.
tank?
Yes. In the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a small tank?
No.
So okay, you had one of the bigger ones.
Yeah, it was like an ocean.
So you
tank
didn't
or
feel
something.
like claustrophobic.
And then I was like swimming around in there, and it was like I was a butterfly, and I had come out of my cocoon, and then I was just like swimming like a butterfly in there, and then I didn't even realize I was upside down. But, they hang upside down in their cocoon. And so it was really beautiful.
So you felt upside down. You weren't upside down. You were.
No, I was. Then I opened my eyes, and I could see on the ceiling like I was upside down in the tank
How do you get upside down in the tank?
because I was swimming.
Oh, so you weren't like floating there totally still. You were just.
At that point, no, I was swimming.
Are your meditations usually visual?
No,
No.
not like that ever.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm always jealous of people who have these vivid images when they meditate or do anything, and because I'm very much a feeling oriented meditator
Yeah.
because I never see anything other than little dots once in a while of color. So that is really cool.
Yeah.
And that was last week or
It was last month
last month.
Yeah.
Where was it?
in Madison, like Float Madison, I
Float
think.
Factor? Oh, Float Madison. Okay.
Yeah.
I heard, is there one in the Dells?
Someone said, yeah, because then I posted online about it, and then someone said there's one in like Lake Delton.
Yeah, I messaged them once. I wanted to get them to sign up so we could give out float
Yeah.
sessions, which would be cool. I should just go there and talk to them.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good about stuff like that because we had a gala for the Veterans Care Trust Fund, and they donated a bunch. Now I
Okay.
remember seeing that in the silent auction.
Okay, cool.
So, yeah.
All right, so this is, I know you've done one of these before, the holistic health pie.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so
Those are fun.
we'll go through it quick since you've known it before. You kind of know what to tell me. You tell me 10 for something that's all the way out on the circle that's like totally fulfilled in your life, and 0 if it's at the center, and then anywhere in between. And I'll draw the dots and then connect the lines, and we'll see what the shape is at the end.
Okay.
Let's start with creativity. And like, this is not how creative Megan is, it's how frequently is Megan creating.
Like 3.
Okay. Finances.
Probably like a 2.
Career.
8.
So you love your job.
I do.
That's good. Education. And this is like not necessarily your primary education, but your continual learning.
5.
Okay. Health. Overall health as you define it.
7.
Physical activity.
6.
Home cooking.
6.
Home environment, like your physical space.
7.
Relationships,
9.
social life,
9.
and joy.
7.
Okay. And the last one, spirituality.
9.
Okay. So now we just connect the dots. It's interesting to see what everyone has a different shape. Looks like a boat.
Yeah.
So that helps us, kind of see when we look at the results of our discussion today and then the pool of wellness partners we have, just kind of match up. Okay, where in your holistic health pie does it look like it wants some improvement, and then where can we have wellness partners that can meet that or help enhance that? So what brings you here today?
Just seeking like community and connection with like-minded people.
And what's your current living situation?
Right now I live with my boyfriend's parents, my boyfriend and my son. We're currently building a house, so that'll be done hopefully the end of July.
Okay, cool. Congratulations.
Thank you. Super exciting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
coming right down the pipe.
It is.
Do you consider yourself religious?
Yes. Well, spiritual, I guess.
Spiritual, okay.
Yeah.
So not necessarily a certain doctrine.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Do you see a regular doctor?
Not unless I have to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So no.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. Any regular medications being taken right now
No.
of psilocybin?
Yes.
Do you cook at home?
Yes.
What's your typical diet?
Ooh, it fluctuates various times throughout the month for sure. But typically in the morning we'll have farm fresh eggs with a piece of sourdough toast, local cheese, and then venison sausage from the deer I shot this fall.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. So, when I'm on track, that's really good. Breakfast is always super good and solid. It varies for lunch, whether I'm like running to appointments or things like that. If I'm working at my office space in Sauk, I'll stop at the juicery and get like a cold pressed juice or soup that they have there. Yeah, I don't really snack throughout the day. If I do, I'll have like a granola bar or some pistachios. My downfall is sweets, and there are always chocolate chip cookies on the counter at my house. And so, and like banana cake. And so
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes to have that self-control.
So is that what you refer to as, are you happy with your current diet? You said no. Is that because of too many cookies?
Yeah,
Okay.
too many sweets. Yeah.
All right. Well, I empathize with that weakness. So
Yeah.
yeah, especially the chocolate chip cookies. My God.
Yeah.
How do you not eat those when they're around? Why are they around? You're baking them?
No, my mother-in-law's always
Oh.
baking them. Yeah, she always has cookies on the counters for the guys.
Oh yeah,
so,
and
yeah.
that's a hard one to tell your mother-in-law not to bring
Yeah.
good food, good tasting food over. Do you foresee any barriers to attending any sessions that we might give out?
I don't
No.
think so.
What do you have in for like a support system with this? Your boyfriend?
Yep, his parents, my sister-in-law, my dad,
Okay.
friends.
What do you do for a living?
So I'm an entrepreneur, so I actually run 3 businesses. So I have a flower farm. So it's called Sunnyside Dreams Farm. This is my 3rd year of growing flowers, and I primarily grow sunflowers, zinnias, dahlias, cosmos, And I'm going to be offering you pick experiences this year on the farm. So I'm really excited to kind of grow and see what I can do with that. Last year, I just really focused on growing like the 1 acre, the flowers, and I didn't really do a whole lot with them. So this year, I'm going to try to take bouquets to the market. I have a 6 week CSA subscription that I also did last year. So gearing up for that. So that's one of them. And then I also do photography. I've been doing that for the last couple years. I primarily like nature photography. I've kind of realized like I don't love working with clients. I don't love taking pictures of people. I prefer just taking pictures of nature and just things like as they are. So I'm glad that I learned that about myself. It's kind of been a journey. And then I also own Soil and Soul, which is an apparel company. So I started as a mommy and me 6 years ago when my son was little. I wanted to match him. And all the girl moms have cute little dresses and headbands and bows and like flared flower pants. And like boy moms, they don't have that. So I got together with my mom's group at church and we got positive outdoor adventure based t-shirts and hoodies, and we went to the park and took pictures, and it kind of grew from there. So it was the first mommy and me for boys, and then I kind of rebranded a couple of times into more like agriculture based apparel, and now I just focus on custom orders for other small businesses, nonprofits, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do all that printing in house.
Okay. Screen printed shirts, sweatshirts, all kinds of stuff.
Yep. We could do hats, tumblers, coffee mugs, stickers.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah.
Um, well, describe your financial situation.
Um, so it just really kind of like ebbs and flows. You know, there's not any consistency. Like I'll get a large order and then, like it'll be a couple months and maybe I won't get another order. So there's not a lot of consistency with that. And so then there's like a lot of unknown and uncertainty.
Sure.
So I feel like I'm always trying to catch up. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you got 3 different revenue streams, but they bounce around a little bit. And
Right.
okay. What would you describe as your greatest challenge when it comes to taking care of your mental health?
Realizing that sometimes I have to take the time out and do things that are going to fill my cup, because if I just keep trying to pour from an empty cup, it doesn't work. And like letting go of having to explain that to anyone. Like I don't owe anyone that explanation, or like I'm doing what's best for me, and I know that's going to make me a better mom, a better wife, a better sister, a better friend, a better daughter. And so I know that it's important, but not everybody in my life always sees it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a typical day look like for you?
Oh geez. It's different every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So like this morning I went to the gym and worked out with my trainer after I got my little guy on the bus and off to school. And then I had some appointments in Madison, and then I have this appointment and I have another appointment after that, and then I'll go get him off the bus. It's planting season right now on the farm, so later I'll have to make supper and probably take it to Derek in the field, or if he's coming back, he's out spraying today. So it's different every single day. Sometimes it's driving farm machinery, or giving rides, or taking meals, and yeah, then raising my son in that also. And
Okay.
yeah.
So when it comes to the few moments following waking up in the morning and the few moments before going to bed, do you have any sort of routine or ritual that you like to do?
That I like to do, yes, that I do every day, not always.
Okay.
So when I wake up, I have a devotional I usually read, and then I have it's called the Stoic Journal. And so I go to the day in that, and it has a little passage, and then I write about it. And then like I just got back from this trip where I learned new practices, where I'm super excited, and we meditated every day, but I am
Was
not.
that Montana?
No,
No.
it was in Arkansas. It was in
Oh,
Northwest Arkansas.
okay.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was through Sheepdog.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that. You were planning on going there.
Yeah, so we learned a lot of really simple practices, but like just going through a guided meditation, 10 minutes, and just like focusing on body breathing is so profound. And, before I kind of like was, oh yeah, meditation, like it's great. I'm glad it works for some people, but it really does work. And it just takes the time putting in, even if it's 10 minutes. And I found that like I needed a recharge in the middle of the day one day last week, and I like went and I did a 10-minute guided meditation, and then I like had enough energy to get through the rest of the day because I took that time and
Okay.
necessary. And then like a bedtime routine, I don't really sometimes I have a journal next to my bed and I'll journal in there, but it's not very often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you would you say you experience mood swings?
Yeah, probably.
Who doesn't, right? Who doesn't have moods that change?
Right, especially if I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what do you hope to achieve if you are awarded another Tinman coin?
To just keep striving to be better and to be the best version of myself so I can serve the other people in my life and
Okay.
yeah.
Do you have health insurance?
I go to the VA, so
Okay.
yeah.
That's right. Okay, I know the answer to this question. Would you be willing to do a podcast?
Yes.
All right. Now we're just going to go through these different wellness therapy options,
Okay.
and you just say not yes or no if you're interested. Yes or no if you have practiced this meditation. We know that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay. And you've found the benefits in it,
Yes.
but you've yet to make it like a ritualistic part of your everyday.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times in the morning I'm like snoozing my alarm and then like my son wakes up before I do and then like your morning is just chaotic because you didn't take the time or wake up early. So, yeah.
Yoga.
Yes, I have done some yoga.
Did you like it?
I go through seasons where I like yoga. Like sometimes my body just doesn't like yoga. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. I get it. Moving with the seasons is good. I'm more drawn to yoga in the winter for some reason.
Okay.
Personally, yeah. Not as much in the summer. Breath work.
Yes, I've done one breathwork session.
Talk therapy.
Yes.
Did you like your breathwork session, by the way?
I did. Yes.
Was that at a retreat?
No, it was a group session
group?
though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Talk therapy in person.
Yes.
Yes. Talk therapy online.
No.
Reiki therapy.
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes.
Back to the talk therapy. Did you find value in that?
Not entirely, no.
Do you think it was the person?
No, because I've had multiple therapists. So
Okay.
yeah, I don't know.
Massage therapy.
Yes.
Did you like that?
Yes.
Did you learn anything?
Yeah, last time she did like myofascial release because I hold a lot of tension in my shoulder. And like she didn't even do a massage. She just like literally held this spot, I think, for like the entire time. But she got it to release and like just it was very different than your like traditional massage or deep tissue, but it was yeah, I knew that was what I was needing and like she said that and I was like, yeah, that's exactly it.
She felt stuck fascia and just concentrated on that.
It was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good outcome, but maybe not like the totally feel good, relaxing massage you think of sometimes.
Right.
Well, that's good. Who's your massage therapist?
Her name is Rosalinda. She's in Sauk. I think her studio is called Tranquility.
Okay. What about holistic health coaching?
Yes.
Okay. Did you like that?
Yes. I kind of just started. Like I have my second session today. So,
Okay. Life coaching.
um,
Sort of similar, but some, there's some
yeah,
coaches that
I
call
had
themselves
like
that.
she was more of like a life business coach.
Okay.
And yeah, that was helpful.
Sound healing, sound bath.
Yes.
Did you like it?
Yes. I was very skeptical at first, but
How did you feel afterwards?
um amazing. Raw, real. The first time I did it, I was like bawling and I didn't know what was happening, but I like he took us through and he's like, "Yeah, it's okay if you're crying." And I had already been crying. And it was like I was like a 60-year-old woman. I could like visually see this. And I was just like this sweet, kind, loving woman. And then my daughter was there and I was like reunited with her. And so it was just really an interesting thing. Like I don't know, I can't explain it. It was beautiful though. So it brought up a lot of raw emotions.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Very cool. Did you did you feel that that was helpful? Like, did you release some things? Or?
Yeah, and then I went the next time, the same guy, he came a year later, and like my second experience was very different. And I like just ended up in a deep meditation and fell asleep. So it's just very different each time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about any mindfulness or like self-help apps?
Um, not really, no.
Self-help books?
Um, yes.
Any book clubs?
Yes.
Hypnotherapy?
Yes.
How was that?
It was good. Yeah, it was really good.
Same thing, sort of like a kind of a bringing you back to earlier situations and then
Yeah.
sort of relive them or rewrite them and then release from them.
Yes,
Like,
and two, the most profound thing for me was like being able to recognize my own energy and like what that feels like because I didn't know. And so now like I know when it's off and I can, kind of try to discern or change my environment or, whatever may have you to recognize that, and that's beautiful.
and
And
you
just
felt the hypnotherapy brought that awareness to the surface.
yes, yes.
Okay.
And then having the tools to clear my own energy because I didn't know how to do that either. And so,
Okay.
yeah.
Fitness, you mentioned going to the gym. So fitness gym
Yes.
membership. Yes.
Yep. I work out with a trainer once a week right now. And I signed up for a half marathon in August, which I think I'm crazy, but it's been a goal of mine for 5 years. And I finally feel like I have the resources and I can do it and I'm equipped to. So I probably need to start training for that like really soon. But yeah.
What about a sprint triathlon on September 6th?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
That's Blake's Tinman. So
Okay.
it's a 6 mile bike ride, a 1 mile kayak paddle, and a 1.7 mile run.
I probably could do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Personal trainer. Yes, he's mentioned that. Any money management training?
Um, no, not really. I don't know. I've been taking a look at my finances since I met with like the business coach earlier this year, and I've been like more aware and canceling subscriptions, but I still don't really like know how to make a budget and how to like do all that, and it just like stresses me out to even think about it. So,
Okay.
yeah. I just kind of avoid it.
Yeah. Any martial arts experience?
I went once to this place in Spring Green that had like I think it was Taekwondo, and it was helpful. It was really scary at the same time, like not being in control and someone else like having power over you, but I think it was like healing at the same time, like due to my trauma and rape and assault. Like I think that kind of helped me, but I never went back. But I was proud of myself for going the one time.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
All right. How about art therapy?
Um, yeah, I used to go to like an art group at the vet center and I found that helpful, but it was just like being an hour away is more than I wanted to drive once a week.
Is that in Madison?
It is.
What about a women's group or spiritual group, or community group?
I don't know that I've ever like had that. I feel like that would be helpful, but
Okay, but
yeah.
not okay. Acupuncture.
Yes.
Did you like that?
Yes.
What did you go there with like needing help with a specific thing on your body or
Yeah, my shoulder, I go there now to the VA to their whole health.
yes?
Yes.
Wellness retreat,
Yes.
animal therapy.
When I was just on that trip to do the Warrior Path program, we went and did equine therapy, and that was my first experience with that. And it was just amazing to me that you really do have a connection with that animal. And like I thought stop, and it stopped, and I was just mind blown that that was even a thing, and it was pretty cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Ayurveda coaching.
Yes.
Okay, is that part of your current?
Yes.
All right. Float therapy.
Yes.
Yes. Cold plunge.
Um, so I got a cold plunge for Christmas like 2 years ago, but I've been waiting till we move to set it up because I just don't want it to be in the way. So I haven't tried that yet, but I've done like the polar plunge before, and I've tried cold showers, and I probably
Yeah, it's like the last thing you want to do is
right,
get freezing cold, but then it feels so good
right,
afterwards. Yeah,
exactly,
it's like going to the gym.
yeah.
All right. So, out of all these we just listed, are there any specific therapies that you feel more drawn to than others?
Um,
Ones
for
that stick
sure,
out?
like the women's coaching group or women's circle or something
Yep.
like that. And then was financial something on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that for sure.
Okay. And then this is one thing that we give to you to take home. This is the emotional spiral, which
Okay.
is like a super interesting diagram to look at that just shows all these different emotions that extend all the way up to pure joy and complete happiness up here, and then down to the very bottom, the depths of depression and apathy and shame and unworthiness and that sort of thing. And it's makes sense that like suicide lives down here
Mm-hmm.
and that ego death lives up here. So there's death at both ends of the spectrum, but just physical death and ego death. And then this midline of boredom and like lack of emotion.
That's interesting that that's in the middle.
Yeah.
I've never seen it like diagrammed out like this. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And you can think like of maybe some bipolar people that have been diagnosed with the word bipolar for living, sort of way down here and way up there and kind of bouncing back, having these medications that are prescribed to them that don't let them get up this high and don't let them get down this low. But then when those medications are pushed to their limits,
Right.
it can result in, you know, like a zombie mode, right?
Right.
Where you just don't feel that much. And then maybe they're dialed back a little bit and allows someone to kind of bounce around between the, but also these emotions that live down here, they are all mirror images or shadows, reflections of emotions that are up here. So like let's see, what's a good example? We had talked about this earlier, like the living in our minds of the worrying about the future or like trying to predict the future.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Worry. Yeah, worries down here. And you can look at this and say, okay, what is the mirror image? What's the counteracting emotion that lives above the line? And trust, right? Is kind of the opposite of worry.
Yeah.
And then I talk about this one a lot. Like, if if we feel shame or guilt, like, which is amazing how close to the bottom of the line those two
Yeah, that's
emotions
scary.
live, is like a reflection of, well, if we feel guilty for something we did, it's because we're not forgiving ourselves for that.
Mm.
And it's, you can find like a match. I don't know how perfectly they match up, but um, this is, I just feel like it's a helpful thing to look at once in a while, because a lot of these words, even like, I didn't equate with emotions necessarily before,
Yeah.
and then realized, oh yeah, that, wow, that is an emotion.
Yeah, and shame and compassion.
Hmm.
Mm.
And there's a Chinese proverb that rings in my head when I look at this, that says, to understand everything is to forgive everything.
Mm.
And so the constant fighting we do in our head, or why is it this way, like sort of resistance to what is, whether it's resistance to how another person is treating us or has treated us, or how other person thinks or acts or believes. um, if we forgive that and just understand that that's part of their programming,
Mhm.
and just immediately forgive it, then there is understanding of it. Like, oh, I get that, because that person is just just doing their best, what they think is
Mhm.
they ought to be doing. So that's yours to take home.
Thank you. That's helpful.
You're welcome. All right, so back to this Tinman Coin wellness grant. We started a new program, which is an option for a coin that we give out, and it is called the Tinman Trail, and it's a series of it's community based. So it fills that void of, that a lot of us have in our lives, of having that community group, that like-minded group of
Mhm.
people. Like you mentioned, the women's group. Sometimes it in our network, it has turned out to be a lot of women that come
Mhm.
through. So chances are it will be like more women centric, but it won't necessarily be. But this Tin Man Trail is a series of classes that are put out and given out in series. So the first one is given out, and it's called Stillwater. It's a class on stress, and it
Mhm.
just educates us about the different types of stress, how stress affects the body, and the different ways of managing the stress that we experience in our lives. And that is an online class, and it's set up in a pretty easy, very easy format to learn. It's like, think of like Instagram Reels, where you
Mhm.
just swipe up with your thumb. That's how it's delivered, in
Okay.
short little micro bits
Yeah.
of learning. And then there's just a couple little writing exercises in there, and some intention setting. And so there's a little bit of homework involved, but it's a 2 hour class that's throttled down. It doesn't allow you to just sit down and scroll and take the class for 2 hours. It's designed to, um, it's a 2 hour class divided by 30 minutes, or 30 days in a month, equals 4 minutes of scrolling a day.
Okay.
And that's about how it's throttled. So it's just meant to, you open up the app, you do a little bit of learning, and then you can digest some of it,
Mhm.
and then short little writing exercise, and then, or no exercise at all, or maybe just a prompt to, or maybe a guided meditation. There's
Okay.
some different things thrown in there. So it's an easy to accomplish online part. And then at the end of that month, there's an in-person session. And when you complete that class, that unlocks the first quarter of the Tin Man Trail. And the first quarter is a set of 3 classes, 3 additional classes that take place, again, with an online component and an in-person component. And then in that class group, it's your cohort of people. So it's your community. You get to know them, support one another. And once the first quarter is completed, then it unlocks the next quarter.
Awesome.
And the idea is that they're little bite-sized chunks to do one at a time, but along that process, you're building community and new friendships. And you're also, with all these different wellness modalities that we just went through on this list, almost all of these are sprinkled in,
Okay.
including money management training, including uh, sound bath, meditation coaching, breath work. So
That's
it's
incredible.
sort of a lot of different things. So it's sprinkling all that in a series of classes that, once completed, then at the end of it, there's a wellness retreat coin that's available at its completion. And then similar to like the AA program where it has sponsors or mentors that help you through the process and support you and are there for you and to hold you accountable. Are you showing up? Once you mentor someone after you've been through the program and you mentor someone for a year, then you would be eligible for a weekend retreat. So does that sound like
That sounds incredible.
an option you'd be interested in?
That sounds super cool.
Okay, awesome. Well, that completes that part.
Wonderful. Thank you.
There's one thing.
What a neat program.
One thing I wanted to ask you. You mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to ask you because I've heard this term a little bit, but I don't know. Explain to me what you mean by that you are a recovering codependent.
So I didn't even know that codependency was a thing until maybe like 2018. And I had a friend and she gave me this book called Codependent No More. And I didn't realize like all the relationships in my life that I had like this codependency, as they call it. And like,
and what does that mean?
it means like you're so concerned about everyone else and like you're a people pleaser. You're just like, you're more worried about other people than yourself. And so it's been a journey of like unlearning all those things, right? And just feeling safe and secure in my own energy and being able to just like do things on my own and not being afraid, because there's so many people I've found in my life that they can't be alone. They can't like do things alone. They can't like go out to eat alone because they have like just this fear or trauma or pain. I don't really know what everyone else's situation is, but like I had to basically learn like how to be my own best friend and how to like love myself. And that I feel like everybody needs to learn, but I didn't realize that I had like this codependency on like other people and like, yeah, more worried about how something was going to affect them than myself. And so I had to really take a step back and look at that.
Okay. So that was sort of an eye opener.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I never looked at myself like that, but I guess I'm dependent on people.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you used to be like not willing to go out to eat or go to a movie alone or?
Probably. Yeah. There was a time in my life where I didn't do anything alone. Yeah.
And how about now? Do you feel that has changed?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you go out to eat alone?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do too. I don't mind it. In fact, it's kind of nice.
And I can like do it without having to like sit on my phone too. Like I have to be really intentional about it and be like, okay, if you were out to eat with like your best friend, are you going to be on the phone or, distracted? And so, yeah, it's taking a step back and
yeah, using that solo dining experience as like time to be present with yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming on the podcast again.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. And thanks for the journey. I'm excited to take this trail.
Good. We are too. So that'll be, you can just look out for more information on that, but that'll be what we issue you in your second Tinman Coin
so much.
Wellness Grant. You're very welcome.
Yeah. How did the snowball day go?
$15,000.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
That's incredible.
In like 2 days.
That is so cool.
Yeah. It didn't like take off like beyond that, which is the idea, but then I think back to it and it's like it is asking so much to expect that just because people donate and nominate that those 3 people are going to donate and nominate. And usually what ends up happening is everyone you ask personally to donate will absolutely donate, and they might nominate, they might not. And then those that do get nominated, it's just, it tapers off really soon, really quick. But all that aside, I'm so grateful for all the people, and it was when I go through the list, I knew like pretty much every single person that donated, and it just means so much that everyone who knows about this is supportive of it.
Yeah.
And so it's a great sign.
I had a great chat a couple weeks ago with a woman in the community that runs a different nonprofit, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, have you heard about Blake's Tin Man?" And she was so excited and to learn about it, and she didn't even know, and she had so much excitement, and that brought me so much joy, like
Yeah.
knowing that what you're doing like does make a difference, and it is reaching, new people all of the time. And so I just want you to know that.
Okay, cool. That's
Yeah.
good to hear. That's great to hear.
She was very excited.
So she had just learned about it.
She had just learned about it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think she's coming to the retreat. So, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Megan Haag.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you.
Have a great day.
Yeah, you too.
Awesome.